Sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's fine. Just don't let it happen again. All right. Uh, hey man, how are you doing
Doing
today?
great, man. I'm excited for this one. Yeah. Um. Let's
Excellent.
let's
So
everyone just share it out. Let's get a crowd going. And
yeah. If you guys will share the spaces on your Twitter timelines, I'll go ahead and do my little introduction spiel of Legend again. Essentially, Legend. I met you in Miami last December. Um, Started to get to know you a little bit. Have reached out to you on numerous occasions for advice and just your perspective on things, and you've been incredibly gracious to share what you know and your connections within crypto with me for several projects, including Boring, and just really appreciative of that. But everyone, Solana Legend here is very influential within the Solana ecosystem. Obviously, as the name hints at, but co-founder of the Monkey DAO. I believe you worked for FTX for a period of time,
yep.
um, and just up to big things. So today we kind of wanted to get to know you a little bit better. Where you're headed within crypto, what's interesting you, and where you see the space as a whole progressing over the next year or so. So that said, take it away.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I just wanted to say, ever since I got to Solana in the very early days, Boring Protocol was always like a name that I kept seeing. Since the early days, and a lot of my friends like Zico and others were, involved. So I was like pretty curious as to what you guys were doing. I remember seeing a photo one time you guys posted on Twitter of like shipments and fulfillment, and it was just like a giant like area of like boxes and like hardware and all these parts just like everywhere. I was like, bro, these guys they're grinding. They're out here like doing real life moves, which is pretty rare. But obviously, like with the whole concerns about privacy and how to navigate like this permissionless and like weird era of internet that we're in, right? I feel like going back to the early days, it wasn't as much of a concern, but ever since like 2012, 2014, I think big, Web 2 companies have just like, if anything, they've proven to be absolutely horrible, like stewards of our information and privacy, like selling it, giving it to governments, just abusing people's information. So I think VPNs are very much like the standard way of navigating the internet in 2022. And I think what you guys are building is awesome as well. So maybe thanks for the intro. Let's talk a little bit about you guys and how you got started out, how the idea came to be, and kind of where you stand today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just so everybody knows who's not currently familiar, I'm from Moby Dick. I'm the founder of Boring Protocol. I've been involved in crypto since 2015. I've had my share of roller coasters, similar to what we all might be feeling with the market right now. I spent the early days, just doing fundamental research and being involved from a retail investment standpoint in that regard. So have always kind of had this entrepreneurial spirit, and felt like there was a lot of opportunity for someone to build something within this arena. So spent a lot of time scratching my head. What is something that I'm passionate about, and also has this product market fit. When I first got involved in Solana, very early 2021, felt like there were certain technical advantages to this chain that I didn't see anywhere else, and I felt like the community was exploding. So um, that, coupled with my experience in the United States Navy working on encrypted communications equipment for the F-18 platform, kind of came together, and I had, been what I would consider a quote unquote power user of crypto. As I said, doing a lot of this fundamental analysis kind of brought me to the point where I was testing different products. Had tested a DVPN and liked the idea behind it, but wasn't really satisfied with some of the execution. That DVPN, one of our biggest competitors, is built on Ethereum. It's called Orchid. Um, so got very familiar with that project and the ins and outs and how everything worked with it. And from that, concepted what I felt would be a more robust competitor, and that became boring. Um, so that said, we launched the build, the development aspect of Boring in May of last year. So just over a year into this, now have a working DVPN with a lot of uh, I guess features to be putting out in the next 2 to 3 quarters. So yeah, that's kind of the story of how we started. As I said, very heavily involved as a retail investor. Um, so, uh, my involvement in DeFi products is similar to many others in the space. And with that, I felt like access to information is equally as important as access to all of these financial instruments, right? So, um, something that gets in the way of that is uh, I guess the uh, geopolitical restrictions that someone might face. They may not have access to the same information that we are blessed with here in the United States. So I feel like a DVPN is really important to that, right? So um, that and just overall privacy. We've kind of seen the shift in the last, I want to say, 5 years of people kind of coming to the idea that their data online is really important, and it's not something that they want sold to the highest bidder. So a way for them to protect that data from advertisers and big tech is through a DVPN. So um, we certainly feel like the global VPN market is where we want to be. Of course, a DVPN is just one little uh, brick of an entire building that's built for privacy. So we're kind of setting the foundation for privacy products with this DVPN, and then we can move into other things such as proxy networks and um, whatever else we may be led to. So yeah, that's kind of my little spiel. Glad that you've heard our name and been able to meet some of the team legend. Um, but yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I see it's so cool like to hear from people like you that have had like different backgrounds like in the Navy working on like fighter jets. That's crazy, man. Like in crypto, I always like to just keep a low profile because I never know like, behind the PFP or whatever, like there's people that have these crazy careers before crypto and you just never know, right? Like I even tweeted about it. The person you're talking to could have like 20,000 Bitcoin and you wouldn't be the wiser. So it's awesome that you're able to implement this. And honestly, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like the era we're in right now in terms of privacy and crypto, I think is a big driver of it, right? In its origins, how many people got onboarded from that like Wired magazine, Silk Road article talking about like the onion ring and like all that, right? So many people that have gotten into this for the tech which I think is all of the left curve adoption of crypto, are people that, you know, value decentralization and privacy first and foremost. Like, these are people who believe in like individual liberties, and, you know, they don't feel like a company, like you said, should be able to acquire your data and sell it to the biggest bidder. And I think this goes a little bit beyond internet, and it goes into like even like biometrics, right? I read the other day that ancestry.com just sold their entire business to Blackstone, which is one of the largest private equity funds in the country, and then just largest investors. And like, you can only imagine, Blackstone has like a healthcare business, they have insurance, like now they got a hold of people's DNA and information, and they're probably running data and big data on that. So it's like, this is an era where the big data, like platforms like Hadoop and others, are so powerful, and there's such insights that can be gleaned from like just data sets, that it's like the old Silicon Valley saying, right? If you don't know what the product is, then you're the product. And I think things like this, I guess like one question I had, and maybe some people shared in the room as well. What's the difference between a normal VPN and a DVPN? I'm guessing it stands for decentralized, right?
Yes, absolutely. And typically, what you see with a VPN, as far as infrastructure goes, is they have server racks throughout different regions, and those IPs are used for their routing. They route people's traffic through those IPs as either hops or exit nodes. And then in between the user of the internet and this exit point, which is, you know, a website or wherever it may be, some piece of content on the internet, there's encryption that takes place. Now, we thought to distribute a piece of hardware, which is what we call the motherboard. Currently the V1, and selling the V2 right now, but we thought to distribute that hardware and then let anybody participate as one of these nodes, and that little piece of hardware would handle the encryption. And for being a node, you measure the amount of data that's consumed by different users across your nodes to reach their content, and then those users pay with our Bob token. Now, the cool thing about it is we can be some hybrid of a decentralized VPN and a traditional VPN, in the sense that we can also take fiat payments from users that maybe aren't as I guess knowledgeable of crypto, and we can also take those crypto payments, right? So the added layer of privacy for the crypto user is that they can log on in with a wallet address and fund their usage, and they don't have to give credit card information, personal identifying information to our system, and remain completely anonymous to use the service, right?
Nice.
So that's probably the main advantage. That, and being that we don't control each of these nodes, other
Yeah.
than, you know, providing our protocol software, we cannot keep logs. So if you're familiar with traditional VPNs, many of them promise no logs, but you know, have come to find through various means that they do in fact keep logs, and they will forfeit these logs to, you know, three-letter agencies or particular authoritative bodies that may want to use them for whatever purpose. So um, that's another big one. So I would say that those are the two main differences. Beyond that, I think that just what we can build on top of this VPN in regards to things like proxy networks are gonna they're going to make the ecosystem of or the token essentially more robust, right? We're going to be providing all this different privacy value through that token. So where you don't get to, you're looking at a top-down approach from traditional VPNs. We're a little different than that. And if you want to talk about something like the Onion router, I would most closely associate us with the Onion router, but with this financial incentive to keep people operating steady connections and acting in good faith to the network. So
Awesome, man. Yeah, this is like it's funny because crypto has distanced itself a little bit from it, but I think these kind of conversations are really where crypto started, and this is the origin for a lot of people early on is the interest to just be able to manage their finances and manage their money and transfer economic value in a way that didn't utilize like centralized systems and actors that you know may kind of just change laws willy-nilly and just kind of like you know start writing the rule book as in accordance to like whatever suits them.
yeah,
So it's really good to hear
yep,
and makes perfect sense. Like the whole decentralized aspect here is huge. I mean, anyone who's using a VPN like Nord uh, or Express or whatever, like ultimately they're exposing themselves. Yes, on one hand, like they are encrypted, right? But they're not they're keeping logs like the I've always said it, right? Whenever anyone's keeping a log or a registry, you're at the mercy of whatever they end up doing with that information. So the only way to truly protect yourself is if the information is not being collected in the first place. um so yeah, man, that this is really good. Maybe I guess like around the token, you mentioned it, and it's a native utility token, I'm guessing, for the entire like boring protocol system. I was wondering if you could go in a little bit more into that and some of the use cases. I know like you guys are still, early days. You have a few products out already. I have friends who have, signed up and have pre-ordered, but I was wondering if you could go into a little bit of like your vision for the token and how it kind of plays into this.
yeah, absolutely. So the token is at its root a settlement, the settlement for our system. Whether we add other tokens in the future as funding for usage. I can't say. We do have plans to do that, but that's not here nor there. So, when we get to that point, what we kind of envision is whether it be fiat or some other token, you will fund your usage with whatever currency it is that we support and you want to use. And then in the background, that using oracles, on-chain oracles, we will convert that to bop, and then that bop is then as you consume data, sent to the operator of the node that you are accessing. So that's kind of the basis of that utility. Beyond that, these node operators are going to be required to stake the token um, in a particular amount. Right now, that amount is 6,250 BOP to operate a node, and what that stake is it's kind of an incentive to act in good faith and to keep your node, in operating capacity, right? So. Where we may have, this is kind of a minority case, but where we may have nodes that come online and act maliciously, in a manner where they may turn on and off and on and off. That stake is kind of a financial incentive for them not to do that sort of thing. So we have some documentation that's going to come out that's goes a little bit more into depth as to how that stake operates, but essentially, if you're an operator and you put that stake up, you're subject to a minimum withdrawal period of that stake. So it makes sense for you to keep your node online and processing traffic during the time that your stake is being locked, and for you to sit there and earn more BOP. Whereas if you put a stake in and didn't run your node, it really doesn't make much sense from the individual standpoint. So that's really the basics of the token. Of course, we, as I said, have plans to build out from the VPN to other privacy products, and we'll work out the economics of that whenever we've executed on this first portion of our vision. But that's it, in a condensed version at this point. So hopefully that makes sense. I did want to circle back to something that you mentioned. Getting to know people behind these PFPs on crypto Twitter, which is kind of the thought behind us starting to do Twitter Spaces with individuals, aside from projects as we usually do. There's an element of privacy in that. We get to share with whoever we choose, little portions of our lives, or whatever it may be, and we find that's really important. Everybody here is on a level playing field, right? It's really difficult to judge someone with a monkey
Right.
PFP as opposed to someone with a Google PFP. You never know. So you're starting with a blank slate with everybody that you meet, and we think that that's really important, and kind of goes hand in hand with the privacy that we're talking about.
Yeah, definitely. I think like I've always said it that crypto is an interesting case because everyone starts from zero in crypto, right? I think if you're like, I mean, personally, I'm not a technical person. I'm not a coder or anything like that. So for me, crypto from the beginning was always about like how quickly can I assimilate new information and learn and move up the curve, because you can't take a class on this. You can't. I mean, you can get a mentor who can show you the ropes. I think most people have kind of gotten that way, but it's much more about like you versus all the information that's out there and how quickly you can run it up. So I think, to your point on kind of the whole ecosystem, I feel like just the fact that you guys are positioned as a privacy first product and service, I think is huge, because this is something that, despite everyone crying for decentralization and security and privacy, I find that people in practice are pretty reckless and pretty crazy with like the stuff they do. Right. For example, like I'm talking to ETH OGs who are talking about decentralization, and I'm just like, bro, like your guy's chain was hard forked, and also like you use OpenSea, which is 99% centralized, and you also like support Bored Ape acquiring CryptoPunks, and that's a completely centralized move. So I think like in practice everyone strives towards the ideal, but like in principle, but then in practice I think their actions often betray it. And I think a lot of companies, what people don't realize in my conversations with people on the ecosystem, like even some of the largest RPC node validator like operators now, I won't name them, but these guys started with one node, right? This is not like, oh, these companies are always massive. They went to market with 150 nodes. Like, no, man. Like these guys were just a bunch of friends operating one node, and they realized this business was scalable, right? And this is very much the same way I see you guys. Like, you have your first, initial product offering and your service and your token, but there's no limits to how far you can push this. And I think the angle that you're coming at it from, privacy first, building things that people are going to use, I think is crucial, right? And if anything, people have less and less privacy these days. Like I used to use WhatsApp because it was encrypted, right, end to end. Or at least I think it was. I mean, that's how they were advertising. And then it got acquired by Facebook, and it just went out the window. So it's like now people are using Signal, and then one day Signal will get compromised probably, and people will have to turn to something else. So it's always just this losing battle of people's like information just getting sold. And I think just the fact that you guys are positioned the way you are, I think is going to be huge, especially as more and more eyes come to Solana, which they definitely are. Yeah, I think this trend is only set to accelerate.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. We looked at the global VPN market. It's set to double in the next 3 years. People are waking up to this idea that I mentioned earlier, that the data is really important. And sometimes it may seem like it's a losing battle, but I remain an optimist, and I think that by building what it is that we're building, we're going to facilitate people not only educating themselves more about different practices that they can go through for their own operational security online, but I think that we can also position ourselves to kind of look to the future and hopefully be able to come up with solutions even before they're needed. So that's something that's really important to us. Um, it's hard to shake the crystal ball and know exactly um, where um, we need to be in the next 3 to 5 years to get in the way of some of these not necessarily bad actors, but individuals who might take advantage of the internet user. So something that's also worth mentioning is you have things like private payments that are being currently worked on within Solana. And then, across the crypto spectrum, you have things like Monero and Zcash that are these private forms of currency. So we're looking at how to integrate those things into our protocol to add that extra layer of privacy that we feel is really important. So
Yeah. No, it's a great point. I think like Solana is such a sleeping giant. The fact that Solana can be a top four crypto, top two crypto, even potentially like based off of payments and NFTs alone is huge. And I think payments is perhaps a sleeping giant here. And yeah, like to the extent that you guys can integrate these kind of things, I think it can be essentially a full suite of applications and of tools that like the privacy oriented user can access, right? I think that's really what's most exciting to me and to others as well. But I also wanted to ask you guys, you have your hardware that you guys sell, and kind of like wanted to hear a little bit more about that, and what the kind of what like who is this intended for, and also like what are some of the use cases and things that you guys have seen.
yeah, so I think as far as our user, it's full spectrum, right? You have the guy that wants to just generate passive income through operating one of these devices, and then you have the more idealistic user that really values some of the things that we're talking about with privacy. So that community is full spectrum, right? And it's really cool to see that in action within our Discord. We've sent these 500 V1 hardware devices out to people across the globe, and to see them in there, each contributing in their own, personal way, and tinkering with this and helping us find bugs and giving us advice as far as features. Um, it's really cool to see that, right? So we've always been community focused project, really very grassroots, if you will. And for us to get into the trenches with our community members and make this thing better for everyone is really important. Now, as far as the hardware goes, we are currently doing the V2 sale, and that's going relatively well. But I think just given the nature the um, uh, of the global supply chain issues, I think that in the next, hopefully within the next year, we move to a software solution. Number one, that's going to alleviate some of the issues that we've had trying to source these chips, these printed circuit boards that we're utilizing in that software. And number two, it's more of a sustainable approach, right? You have a lot of people already with a computer out there or with a mobile device, in their hands, walking around, which our protocol already works on the Android devices. So I think that we're going to move towards a software solution, and kind of the economics of that is that we would distribute that software for free to anyone in the world, and we would kind of curb the node growth, the node count, with an NFT that we're going to be operating. That's essentially it's a software license, right? So you have to have this NFT to run the software and be a node on the network. And the reason for that is we've seen projects with similar infrastructure, such as Helium. Their node count has grown very rapidly, right? And they're kind of at the point now where they're reaching critical mass. You've got a lot of node operators that are not as profitable as they have been in the past. And that's due to all of these rewards being split amongst exponentially growing number of nodes. So if we can release those NFTs in batches, as we notice consumer demand is requiring such, that'll allow us to kind of scale the network in a way that allows node profitability to be something that's reasonable, that keeps people wanting to operate these nodes, and also matches that consumer demand. So we've got a lot of documentation coming out about that NFT here in the future, and we've got a mock-up of the art, so that's pretty cool. But that's kind of how we're tackling the issue, not only with acquiring all of these PCBs to run our software, but also just a more sustainable approach, and it could turn out that this helps us to scale faster, right? Whereas if we stuck with the current method of distributing hardware, we may get to a point where say we have 10,000 consumers on the network and only 1,000 nodes, but we need and then we jump to 50,000 users. How quickly can we distribute that hardware to people, get them to buy it, and then ship it to them in a manner that allows us to retain those 50,000 users, right? So from a user perspective, if they log on and their connection is not very good because our overall network bandwidth can't handle so many users, that would really hurt us, right? Those users probably would not come back to
Right.
the boring network. So
No, that sounds awesome, man. I think like it's so interesting because I mean, this whole space is like you guys have so many unique like challenges and but then opportunities. Like it's just as much about building a network as it is a hardware business, and you're growing users and the community in the Discord at the same time, and then NFTs are at the crossroads of all these different things, right? In terms of fundraising, a proof of validating proof of ownership in a permissionless internet. So it's like NFT tech just is here to stay. It's the short answer. I mean, this is an implementation that's like so elegant, like software license and ascribing digital ownership is genius. I was talking with 01 Protocol the other day, who are doing power perps and other financial instruments, and these guys are also using an NFT to gate access to some of their products. So it's pretty crazy. I think NFTs are so much more than just PFPs, and people aren't ready for what's coming. I think NFT tech is like, I read a comment the other day. It's like a canvas, and people don't even know what to paint yet. So,
yep, absolutely agree with that. We've not even scratched the surface of the utility of NFTs. So I've long been involved in NFT Twitter and crypto. I think since early 2018 was my first involvement in NFTs. Back in the days of the explosion of crypto kitties, and done very well with the NFTs myself personally. But yeah, it's really cool to be involved in the communities that are surrounding these PFP projects. But at the same time, that kind of forward thinking perspective as to what these might be able to be used as is really what keeps me learning. And I think that there's a lot of challenges that the NFTs have to overcome, but at the same time, that those challenges are kind of what's interesting to me. From a personal standpoint, I prefer a challenge, so it'll be cool to see what comes of these in the next 5 to 10 years. But I think it's far greater than anything that we can imagine at this point. So.
I think you're right, man. And also, I guess my next question is around, I think when the dust settles on NFTs, it'll be one of the biggest like mass onboarding tools for crypto. And I was wondering, like, we're in an environment on Solana right now where, StepN is onboarding literally thousands of people every day. OK Bears have done the same. StepN is doing like 1 to 2 times Magic Eden's entire volume on a daily basis on the app. So many new eyes are on Solana, and how are you guys kind of positioning for the next wave of like users? Imagine phantom users go to like 20 million or 30 million. How like for all those new NFT projects and new users, how can kind of boring protocol help serve what they're doing, either on the NFT project creator side or just on the user side?
So when you present that question, I think of a couple different things. Number one, what we are as a product. How does our product help those people that are coming into crypto? And I think our commitment to educating new users within crypto is really important. Getting solid content on our medium as far as educating people in regards to privacy and operational security. Things that they might not know that their data does, that is really important for them to know so that they can better protect it. But then I also think about what we do as a product for the NFT user. How can we protect them? NFTs in a way are kind of a way or a opportunity for bad actors to kind of do a reverse lookup of somebody's wallet and attach a wallet to a certain persona, right? So
Right.
I don't know that we have a solution for that though, but it's something that we're definitely thinking about. Um, I feel like from my perspective as a user that if I could still wear an NFT, PFP NFT on my Twitter account and not have somebody checking out my wallet, that's important to me. Not that I have anything to hide, but I would just rather preserve that layer of privacy, right? So um, I imagine there are solutions there, but I don't know that we're ready to share anything as far as what we have thought or concepted in that regard. So.
Yeah, definitely, man. We got Fastedward here. Let's see if we can bring him up. This guy is a good friend of mine. He's he's grown a lot of tech companies, users like in a major way. He's onboarded millions of people to Lyft. So um, here, let me just grab a co-host. But I think it's a great point. Like, there's so many limitations still for NFT tech, and the way we kind of, like you said, get our wallets reverse looked up. That's something that's like near to my heart because as a quote unquote influencer, which I hate that term, but like, whether I like it or not, I am now one of the voices of the ecosystem. People are like scrutinizing my wallet so hard, watching my shit, and like, if there was a way to just maintain anonymity, that would be huge. But Eddie's laughing because he's like, "Bro, you get all these followers and then you want to be anonymous? Like, come on."
Well, there's got to be some balance, right? And what you're suggesting, it could be very simple, not necessarily simple in the aspect that you may have to, create other wallets and spread these NFTs out amongst them, and just that's the really, I guess, user level easy way to do that. But it's not really it's not really easy in the fact that now you're maintaining multiple wallets as opposed to one that you may want to be able to quickly act in certain market conditions. We all know how crypto moves.
That's the part that I hate, man. I hate that part of the safety and security. Like when I first got my my ledger, I was like, fuck. I was like, I cannot move as fast as Solana with this thing. You know. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for pulling me up, Legend. How's it going over there? Well, tell me a little bit about boring before I go off on a ramble. I saw a protocol, and I like that anyone that's building anything during this lovely bear market, I'm interested in it. I'm happy to talk about some of the tech we're using on Solana and some of the things we're doing and anything about myself. But fill me in first. So I don't sound like a dumbass. Fill me in on boring real quick.
Yeah, just very condensed version. We're a decentralized VPN. We're kind of modeled off of some of the previous DVPNs within the space. Just taking a bigger or a more focused approach on user facing features and again that decentralized aspect. So where you have other DVPNs in the space that they pick and choose who gets to be involved in the infrastructure in the network. We're leaving that to the community. Anybody can go and buy one of our hardware nodes and become an exit node on the network, and in doing so, they get paid for the bandwidth or the data that's consumed by DVPN users across their node. That's it in a very short manner.
Oh, that's freaking awesome, man! And it's so amazing to see all of these protocols being built, like not necessarily similar to yours, but just from the gaming ones and the standard ones that are coming into like Solana and these ecosystems. They're so beautiful. We're working on something right now. It's like just to share the tech of how far all of this stuff is coming, right? Like we have a project that's going to start on one side of the country and it's going to fly over to the other side of the country, not fly over, drive over to the other side of the country. And in each state, we're going to paint a different mural, right? With like big famous graffiti artists, whatever. And then users are going to be able to come up, tap their phone on the mural, mint the NFT for free, the first 50 users. And then the subsequent like 450 will be able, they'll go like up in price. I'm going to make it fun somehow. But the point is like, we're using in real life tech and bringing all this stuff together, and it's just so much fun. Like the level of what everyone's been building lately is just second to none. I can't even get into what Wormhole's doing, but man, this stuff is just so exciting. So happy to jump in, learn, and use any of these new tools that we have. VPN is so important, like you know. So I'm just here all ears. Just wanted to say hello and give some love.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, that sounds really fascinating. I think personally, I'm really interested in the stuff that not stuff, but projects or tools that are some semblance of balance between real world and the ether, right? So that
Yeah, I think the in real life stuff is just needed to pull those heartstrings and remind us that we're still fucking human, right? Like going up to a mural and coming to your hometown and meeting up with like nice Solana friends in real life and taking home an NFT, maybe taking home an autograph print. Like I think that our ecosystem is allowing us to build more and more and more. It's just going to get better and better and better. And I love coming on. Yeah, go ahead.
Even growing the network, right? My buddy bought a Helium like node back in like the early days when the rewards were insane. Like he used to go on forums and some guy would be like, "Yeah, I rigged it to like an 11-foot pole and like put it above my house," and they're in there like sharing tricks on like how to like maximize their coverage and shit. But it's like a whole ass community in there, right? You go and talk to these guys and they're all like comparing notes, like, "Hey, here's how we're gonna optimize our network, boys. Like, how we're gonna do this."
Like it's just bringing so many like-minded people together, because I think a lot of us, like I don't know about you guys, but a lot of us are fucking nerds, and some of us have, excuse my language, I didn't realize you're recording, but a lot of us grew up with like the trying to fit in thing, and like a lot of us are a little smarter than others or a little different or whatever, but all this, like this ecosystem giving us a platform to come together and build stuff, it's never been so exhilarating. I come from a mass adoption technical marketing background. Like I brought Lyft, their first 2.2 million users by myself. I flew up there, believe it or not, with a fake assistant who was my hairdresser, sold the deal. and had some very amazing, famous people that I have relationships with share this project called Lyft, and it brought it up to the next level. But even with the millions of dollars I made there, it did not make me happy, right? Like up until I think I share this on some other spaces, but up until this point where like I found my home primarily with Solana, definitely in Web3, like I didn't feel fulfilled. Like there's no amount of money you could have paid me. Like I literally was flying around private jets with Dan Bilzerian and Drake and you fucking name it, right? Like, but none of that really mattered until I got here. And like, it's not even here for the money. Like I started with like 60 grand and my Soul NFT bag is disgusting. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's disgusting, but it's not even about that. It's just like coming together on these spaces, learning with your friends, building things with your friends, teaching the marketing people tech and teaching the tech people marketing. It's been my job, and it's so beautiful to be on the bridge in between. And you know, I could go on and rant for days about my happiness and my current joy. I mean, Legend, have you ever heard me bummed like ever?
Oh,
Like in
bro,
the last 3
never,
months?
never. Fast Edward, dude. Eddie, and Solanasteve, who's also in the crowd here. These guys are like the two up and coming. Like, I mean, if you take it from me, bro, these guys are the next generation of Solana people, right? They're past like, you know, the old guard. We're passing the torch to them, and these guys are bringing nothing but good vibes. Like seriously, there's a new like wave of Solana influencers and spokespeople, and it's honestly like super encouraging to see the new energy coming in. And I think like there's so much educating to be done, right? And like alpha is one thing. Like I love to try and make people money. You know, oftentimes I get hate for it, and I need to put a gun to someone's head to try and make them $1 million, which is crazy to me. But also like just the OPSEC side of things, people are so lacking. I see people get hacked and scammed for their NFTs every fucking day, and and moving around the internet with a VPN like this one is just as important. You know, I think that they're all just fundamental pillars of a secure just like browsing and secure like usage of all these different networks we're using. So, you know, yeah, man, I'm really excited to just to have this chat and to just go back and forth on like on what you guys are building, because I mean, like I said, boring protocol has been around since the day I got to Solana. It's going to be around for years and years. So this is only going to get bigger, and as these trends towards privacy and everything accelerate, I think you guys are super well positioned for that wave.
Yep,
How
I think what Fast Ed said about the money coming and going is really important, right? I've, as I mentioned, long time been a part of crypto. I've done really well, and I've done really shitty, just given market conditions. But what's kept me around is the problem solving. I think so. You know, we're presented with certain challenges, as you mentioned. Um, you know, people getting hacked, all these different pitfalls that are akin to crypto, and how to help other people navigate those pitfalls, but also how to educate others and keep them from avoiding them wholly. So it's really important to us as a team, and to me personally, that we tackle those challenges. The ones that are obvious now, and the ones that we haven't even come across yet, are really important.
Yeah, I mean, we have a responsibility for like during this mass onboarding that's happening on our Twitter spaces and like in real life, like, you know, to you know, setting up a wallet for someone is so freaking nerve wracking. That's one thing, but you know, I think it's important to have these tools along the way to teach them, you know, and to have them be safe. I mean, that's exactly how I learned coming up on these spaces and asking questions and trying to figure it out. Like I didn't even use a VPN before I before I got deep into this, and the importance of it is second to none. So yeah, I mean, thanks for being
And
there and building that.
there,
You know, it's
there's such a vast array of different things to learn. How do you know, compartmentalize all of the different aspects of crypto, and make sure that people um, aren't leaving one portion of that education out, right? So we definitely do have a responsibility, and we take it very seriously, because the health of crypto as a whole is uh, entirely dependent on that, right? So if people have a bad experience and they
yeah, man. Every
lose.
single conversation is so important because if that person just has one bad experience as their first taste, it's like meeting someone and having them punch you in the face, right? Like you're not going to call that guy back. Definitely not, unless you're a real weirdo, right? So like when someone comes, I know, I'm upset, but
Bro,
But when someone comes in, right, and a lot of people come in like chasing like the abundance of money. Some of them, but that's kind of how I felt when I was, investing more in ETH NFTs. But now with Solana, it's like people are genuinely coming for community. Like my boy told me the other day, he's got $50. I'm like, great. He's like, he's like, I can't even afford the gas, bro. I'm like, no, you can. Come buy this burrito. It's $20. Join the community. Get a VPN. Protect your wallet. Here's an extra ledger that I've had from the past. I've cleared out. It's yours. And go join the community. Learn with them. Talk to them. Ask them questions. Like change your PFP. Like go tweet some shit. Like be a part of something. And that dude with like his $20, he don't care about his $20. He wants something to do and feel a part of something. So a part of something and becoming a part of something. Safety is one of the most important issues, and closing those big vulnerabilities is obviously well, at the most base level.
Yeah, man. And just like jumping in the Discord, right? Jumping in the boring Discord and like finding a community, finding your tribe there. These guys can show you the ropes day one. And I think, there's a lot of other communities that you're involved in. Like Moby, like, Scoogies and all that. Like those communities go crazy. Like for a fact. I mean, when I was at FTX, we did a meme competition. And yeah, dude, needless to say, the Scoogies were bringing the heat. Like they had memes that were far, far above everything else we were getting. And I think it's just like the craziest community that has the most fun is going to be the most successful long term, because like you have to have fun with these JPEGs, right? Like when they're not fun, there's no point.
If
Yeah, literally.
if you're not enjoying what you're doing, why the hell are you doing it?
No, that's facts.
Exactly. But I think you having these spaces and bringing up people like Legend and then therefore myself and whoever else are super important, because there's so many of these guys that are just having a dilly-dally fun day, spending 10 grand on their Phantom mobile wallets. And then like one day when they wake up and their shit's gone and they wonder why, just from a random website that looked like a restaurant where it said connect for the Wi-Fi and you just got fucked. Like, you know what I mean? Because you forgot you were on your wallet's browser. Like, I've seen that shit happen, bro. Like, if you go to, like, Buca de Beppo or wherever and it says connect to Wi-Fi, like, I don't click connect for anything now, Like, I'm terrified. So, I don't know. I think teaching these things, I'm fairly new at it, and I'm learning security is probably, not my strongest point. It should be. But I'm happy to come up here whenever you guys are up here and share and bring our DGen friends over and teach them some safety and security. I mean, it's just important.
Yep.
Period.
Yep. That's something I think is really cool, is whether you're talking about the guy with $20 to his name or the guy with 7 figures, that it's equally as important that they avoid some of those phishing pitfalls or scams. I mean, that's what's really cool about our product, is it's for everybody. The guy that values his last $20 the same way somebody else values their 7-figure portfolio. It's all important to the individual user. So, and by way of that, it's important to us. So,
Absolutely, man.
cool. Well, I thought I saw we had another speaker, but it looks like maybe they backed out. Does anybody else have any questions for the project, for Legend, Fasted? Fasted, I gotta say, I see why they call you Fasted.
Man, bro, I'll use my whole 100 bars of energy by like 4 in the morning. I'll wake back up at 6 and be at full again, just like ready to go. Like
This guy's crazy, bro. I ran into him and Steve in Miami for Solana Miami, and these guys were just pulling up in reflective like safety vests.
Yo, we dressed up as trash men because we were doing Degenerate Trash Pandas little activation. So me and Steve, instead of paying these, like, this local movie guys wanted like 20 grand to rent dumpsters and tires and all this bullshit. Steve was like, yo, let's just go to the dump. So we went to the dump and we got some trash and we set up this like real looking dumpster thing. And we were like, you know what? We might as well dress like janitors and garbage men. So we put on the neon orange vests. And actually, like, I was sweeping the floor all day. So I was just walking around. If there was someone I didn't want to talk to, I just sweep the floor. And Raj walked up to us, and I started sweeping his feet. And he was like, dude, stop it. And then he was like, oh, hey, Eddie. What's up, Solanasteve? Solanasteve's here. He's a big boy
I'm
for
inside
Web3.
doing some shit, and I heard my name, so I had a request.
What's cracking, Steve? How's everything going?
Just work, we got some.
What's your experience with VPN, Steve? Do you use VPNs? Have you used Boring before? Are you familiar with this conversation?
No, I haven't used Boring, but I mean, I've had to use VPNs at like most of my startups for certain like back end stuff. So I would love to learn if I'm missing anything. If you guys give me the Spark notes.
Yeah, can you guys just before we leave, I don't know how long you've been here or whatever, but give us like the 101, like idiot preschool. Why do I need this and how do I use it? And then if you feel like it, I can always shut up, but I would like to hear that so we can then go ahead and share the same message.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to get too redundant, but essentially, a VPN is the first thing we see is from a user that needs to be addressed from anybody online, right, to protect their data and their privacy. Before you even access any sort of content that you wish to online, it's important for you as a user to do so through a VPN, right? We kind of want to normalize VPN usage throughout crypto and throughout the rest of the online world, the normies, as you may call them. Boring is essentially a decentralized VPN, whereas traditional VPNs, they handle all the servers, all the IPs, all these node points, whether it may be hops or exit points. They maintain all of that, right? So that's their central point of failure. That and the payments that they take are all fiat, right? You got to go and pay with a credit card, give them your personal information, your address, all that. So they've got all that on file in some centralized database, and we've seen in the past where those databases get breached and all of that personal information is out in the open to bad actors, right? So
And then before you know it, you're getting texted about, a new golf club.
correct. Yep. And your data's definitely not 100% secure through those VPNs. So with the decentralized VPN, we build the software, and we put that software on a little hardware device, which we've circulated, I think, a little over 500 of these devices to early participants in our network. And our VPN is online through them right now in a closed beta. But those participants operate these nodes, and then they're paid by users who may access their node to get to whatever content they're trying to reach online. And so there's financial incentive for these node operators to keep their connections to the network in operational capacity. And then because we don't operate those nodes, there's no way for us to log user data, right? So traditional VPNs, though they promise no logs, it's been found throughout the past that most of them do so, and they will provide those logs to three-letter agencies that may use them how they see fit. So
That's so
kind of
sketchy.
yeah. And with
Man.
our system, while we do want to capture some of the normie users and allow for fiat payments, we're going to have that as an option, right? So the added layer of security is that you could log on with a wallet address, an anonymous wallet address, and pay for your usage of the VPN with crypto, and there's none of that personal identifying information kept in our databases.
That's freaking fantastic. Thank you for doing that. Sorry if I had to reel it back. I just saw some of my guys coming up here from me and Steve being here, so I wanted them to get the quick update.
Bro, we're gonna make Moby say the pitch 4 times, bro. I feel so bad.
I feel like I've probably done it a little over, maybe a little under 1 million times in the last year. So it's no biggie. It's part of getting people involved, right? So
yeah, definitely.
Really great information, Steve, on our Medium and within our community. If you hop on the Discord and start quizzing our community out, and even our team members, we're all we make ourselves available as much as possible to entertain questions and get people up to speed on what it is that we're doing. So As I mentioned, the network right now is still in closed beta. We hope to, in the next quarter or two, launch our mobile application for the public beta, which would allow anybody in the world to become a consumer of data across the network. So that's exciting. Currently have, I want to say, a little over 600 nodes distributed, but also doing a V2 sale, which is the version 2 of our hardware. So if you want to get involved from that aspect, you can check out our Twitter. If you're a US based Twitter user, you should see a direct link to our sale right there on our Twitter. If not, you can follow the links in our bio to get to that sale if you so choose. So
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, thanks so much for putting this on. I mean, anyone in the audience, follow everyone on stage. Definitely check Boring Protocol out. Go in their Discord. These guys are crazy. They will help you, and it's honestly a great starting point for all the new users listening in. It's a great group of people, and these guys will, they're as good as gold. So, been around in a long time in the Solana ecosystem, and they're going to be around for even a lot longer.
Yep. Thank you, Legend, for hopping up here today, man. Being the guinea pig for our personal spaces. So very thankful of your time, and as I mentioned in the past, always making yourself available to provide us advice and just chat if need be. But you're a great guy, and just glad to have you in our circle, man. So thank you. And that said, I think we've been on a little over an hour now. Iced, I did see you hopped up as a speaker. Do you have a question before we go?
No, I don't have a question. I was just like coming to chill. I don't know, maybe just listening. I don't know.
Yeah,
And,
he's also just spreading some misinformation about me being a Cardano holder.
No, that's not misinformation.
I mean, look, dude. People can say what they want. I mean, it's all on chain. As for me and Cardano, like, it's not a thing. I mean, Charles from Cardano, he's only like 30. He looks like he's 57. I mean, I think he's dressing that way on purpose. But I've gone on the record saying it is one of the biggest scams out there. So.
Love it. Okay. Looks like we might have one more question. Hopefully, not in regards to Cardano. Hallcoin, what's up? You got a question for us? He's shy.
He's shy.
We started dissing Cardano, and he decided maybe it wasn't the time to show that. So, all right. Well, as I said, been on here for about an hour. Again, thank you everybody that showed up. Hit up our Discord, follow the speakers here on Twitter. Get involved. Just thankful for you all, and hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Thanks. Have a good day, guys.
Peace.